Welcome in! Today we're going to be taking a look at some builds for the Sweatshop. There's going to be 3 builds, one for very early game, which not a lot of people talk about, and there's going to be like a middle ground build with we'll talk more about that one because it's a little special, and then there will be like a mid-tier or mid-game build. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what we're working with here. Alright, so we got this much space, not very much. Early game, you don't have access to a lot of stuff. In fact, there's going to be a couple things inside of this build that are you gotta level up a few times to get to, but it's still early game. And when I say early game, I don't mean like you gotta have the warehouse or anything like that. So the first thing we're doing is we're putting the bed down here in the corner. Then we're going to be doing this, and this. We're doing that because I like my storage in one spot. Well, I like to have a bulk storage in one spot. This cop is getting in the way here. So next spot or next thing is going to be your grow tents. Obviously, you may have the ones you stole from the RV. So you could swap out a couple of these for the 2 wrecks you can get from the RV. So it'll still work even with those. And then I don't know about you, but I hate watering. It's my least favorite thing. So I skip the soil dispenser, and I do get the water. I hate watering. Next thing we're gonna be doing is putting a shelf on this side, a large shelf. So we got total 4 large shelves. This whole build, by the way, is less than $4,000, so it's pretty early game. Let's see, all this is the rest of it. It's a packaging station. I like to butt that up against the sink. And then we're going back to some, we got a couple medium shelves here. We're gonna be putting those there. Let's see, and then a small shelf right here, just for extra storage. We're gonna put 1 there, 1 there, and then a small shelf right there. Now this seems cluttered, but if you don't have employees, it doesn't matter. You can walk through here just fine. I'm not getting stuck on anything. I can reach my bed. I can reach all of the shelves. I saw that people had some concerns about stacking shelves like this in weird spots. I promise you can access the back ones without issue. So even this very back one over here. So you can see that the skateboard's on that 3rd shelf. So it's not an issue of the like not being able to access the shelf. That cop is finally gone. There we go. And then all of this stuff is more just showing like how I would generally lay this out myself. You can ignore the soil dispenser. I just had those laying around. Let's see. So this is typically what I would be doing. I'd have my grow stuff on the back. Like I said, you can reach it from this side, so like as you enter this little tunnel. If you wanted, you could put it here, but I'd recommend putting mixer stuff here. And then either mixer stuff or product. Like with this many tents, you're gonna have a bunch of stuff you need to put somewhere. I use this particular shelf as the outgoing shelf. So like anything that I have that's all packaged up and ready to go, that's where I put it. I put the mixers near each other because I run 2 mixers at the same time because they take so damn long. No reason not to run 2 of them. That's why there's 2 instead of 1. Again, this whole thing costs under 4,000. I think it was like 3,800, and that's not counting if you stole a bunch of stuff from the RV. So you had a couple things extra. But that's the early game build. Now we're gonna move to the middle tier. The middle tier, just to kind of explain real fast, I don't consider it to be necessarily middle. It's kind of more of like, I don't want to deal with employees. So I've run into a lot of people that don't like employees and don't like dealers. They like to play it more like a DDS style. Drug dealer sim, where they're in charge of like running everything, and so they don't use employees, but we'll get into that right now. All right, and then for the weird middle range, I actually don't recommend changing too much. If you're not gonna have an employee, this layout works out perfectly. I swapped out the mixers so that you have the better mixers, because the first mixer sucks, and then you have your packaging station. Pretty much it's exactly the same though. You could, in theory, get rid of a couple of these pots if you wanted the auto soil things. I don't personally recommend it, but that's just because like I'd rather have the extra plants. 8 plants off the start is gonna power you through for a while, well past the bungalow. So the next one though is going to be more what I would consider to be mid-game. So at that point you have access to the warehouse and you want to use an employee. And then there's going to be one bonus kind of layout that I'll do for you after the employee one, but we'll get into that right now. All right, and then the mid game, I'd say for the sweatshop, you got your Richard here, your good old Dick. Anyways, you want to well, let's start with what I changed. So you basically can keep this whole thing the same. The only thing that I changed was I removed all the water things because the botanist does the watering for you, so you don't have to have them. Frees up a little bit of space, so you have a little bit more room for activities. Slid this over, moved this over. It's pretty much it. Everything else is the same basically. There's no issues of getting trapped anywhere. You may move these over 1 square so that you have a little more room here, but I mean ultimately it's up to you whether you want room here or if you want room over here. The way that you set up the botanist, you just go to your little clipboard here, you hit E on him. You're gonna have to give him a bed, so you either need to either add another bed in here somehow, which I wouldn't recommend doing personally. I would recommend using the the motel for sleeping. So you select his bed. You just click on click on the supplies. Well, I gotta click him again real fast. There we go. So click on supplies. You're gonna give him his supply shelf. I use this shelf personally. Then you're gonna come over here and you're going to hold shift. You're clicking while holding shift. So, and you see down at the see all of these are highlighted. You then hit E. You're gonna select your mixes. I personally use fertilizer and PGR. I don't use the Instagrow. I know some people like to use it because it's faster, but it brings down the quality, and I'd rather just have normal quality, which the PGR brings down the quality slightly, but the fertilizer brings it back, so you're getting better basically balanced out quality. Now you select destination. While you have all those selected, and you just select whichever rack you want. If you want, you could do say you wanted to do like 3 for to go to the first shelf, and then say 2 to this next shelf. You would just go destination, second shelf, and then shift click the ones you just moved, and then shift click the ones you want, and change or hit E on them to change the destination. Hit the red X, and then bam, all the pots are going to different shelves. So you have 8 plants being distributed across 3 shelves. I would probably say do it that way unless you want to constantly be checking your shelves. Again, the center thing here I would use for mix ingredients. You're not going to be doing a ton of mixing here. In fact, the next I guess I should show him actually working. So we got we gotta get these on here real fast. Same shift click again. And then all the air pots that you just shift clicked are there. And then you gotta get him his bed. So he's got his bed. So then you just gotta give him money. If you do this in the middle of the night, do not give him money until the morning. Then he will come up here and start working. Now, the sweatshop, you can't have a cleaner with the botanist, so you're gonna have to basically clean up after this dude. So you'll just pick up his mess here. I'm gonna sneak around him. There we go. So either drop the stuff off here, or if you're like me, I am a big fan of money, so you have access to a little extra money. Which there's one right there, but there's also one right over there. You can see it, so they're not that far. I actually prefer to use the grabber also over bags, like garbage bags. Because one garbage can is one of these things. So if you dumped everything into a trash can, when your grabber is at 100%, it's gonna fill it up and you're gonna waste a garbage bag every single time. So but right now he's just going through, he's filling up all the soil. Once he gets through with all the soil, he'll go over and start planting seeds. Once he gets done with the seeds, he'll start putting additives, so the PGR and the fertilizer. And then he'll just keep an eye on that. He does all the watering for you. If you don't have the botanists doing stuff for you, make sure if you're using these pots that you're watering them multiple times because they drain faster. That's pretty much it. So all your product will be over there. You could have like whatever you want here. I would probably put anything that I'm not using. Like for example, I don't like carrying around this thing very often, so I set that, my trimmers, things like that whenever I'm around. This I use for finished packed product, stuff that I'm going to be giving to dealers. Again, these are additives to the mix for the mixes, and then jars and baggies, and then supplies. One thing I did forget on here, as I just noticed he left. Let's see. Click. Don't forget your seed. I do that all the time. So just do this. Click whatever. I have green crack. And then he'll come back up here. He should anyways. Green crack, he has not planted them. I have them, don't I? Oh, I didn't pick them up. 1 second. Alright, it helps if you actually have the seeds on the shelf to actually have him put it on there. So now that I put those on there, he's gonna come back up. He's gonna put all those in. Once he puts them in, he'll then do the PGR and the fertilizer, and we'll show that here in a second. He's doing the first seed. Come on, Richard, faster. So there's his watering. So proof that he doesn't need the automatic waters. He does it for you. There it goes, fully watered. Alright, now he's coming back for the second seed. So he's gonna go all the way through all of these, and then he'll do the PGR. We'll come back when he's done he starts the PGR and fertilizer. Alright, so he finished the seeds, and he's coming through with the PGR and the fertilizer right now. As you can see, like he just barely finished planting this one, but this one is already 89% grown. So basically, as long as it's not 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., he's working the whole time. He just goes from plant to plant. Oh, he's pushing me out of the way. Alright, and then we'll come back when he's ready to harvest, so we can show that he doesn't get stuck whenever he goes to put that stuff on the shelves. Alright, he's about finished with the PGR and fertilizer. He's gonna go trim. One thing to keep in mind with the 8 plants, he's too slow to use the additives on all the plants before they're finished growing. And that means that the very first set of plants won't, not all of them will have the PGR and the fertilizer. So just be aware the first grow is going to be kind of sporadic. After that, the PGR is already on there. So when he harvests the plants, they'll end up already having the fertilizer. All right, and then he's just kind of chilling right now because, as you see at the top, we're in that 4 a.m. period. So if we go to sleep, he will finish doing the rest of the plants. All right, we went to sleep. We're coming back. He's already at work. Just over here, he apparently stopped on that plant before doing the PGR and or excuse me, before the water. He didn't water it before he quit working. Alright, he's got the fertilizer, and then he'll go to the next plant. And he'll just keep doing that. So basically, with this setup, he's working like the whole time, except for once it gets to 4 a.m. If you don't go to sleep, he's not doing anything until you do. So on to trimming. Alright, we're gonna let him trim, and then when he gets to the plants that I know that he didn't get the PGR on in time, I'll pop back in. This plant should be the one that doesn't have PGR, or should still have PGR, unless it gives them all the bud, but I don't think it does. Oh, maybe it does. I think in the demo, if you added the PGR after it finished growing, it didn't take until the next one. He's done working because I didn't keep up on stock. I have no seeds. But yeah, he planted these two and he finished up with the rest of the stuff. But yeah, so that's how to utilize the botanist here. Just remember, you gotta keep cleaning up his mess. This last part is just kind of a bonus. We're gonna show you technically how I would set up this. Alright, so for the sweatshop, I would personally like remove the mixers. I would probably just have a packer just to have a packer there. But I would come over here to the motel, and I'd have my bed, and then you could add some racks if you want. I personally don't find the racks to be all that useful, at least through the mid game. But then, like, once you get the barn, you obviously want them, but you could get rid of these and like put in a packer over here. You have all your shelves back here for ingredients, for mixing, or storing product. Kind of like a central hub. So like you have access to the store right there, right around the corner. So you have a decent place where you could like actually do some stuff. If you wanted to make this more convenient, I'd probably do this and like throw the mixer or the packager right here, and maybe a small shelf for baggies and stuff. But yeah, that's what I would recommend for this area. There's not really too much more for this. Another thing you could potentially do is sort of the workers' beds over here. But I have a feeling that that's probably gonna get patched. Because they're not I don't think you're supposed to be able to bed workers in a different location than where they're working. But that's pretty much it. If this was a helpful video, please hit the like button. That's about it. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.